aren't they? See, my ancestors, we didn't build these empires, we took them. We took the knowledge, the symbols, the legacy.
But the irony? It's still theirs, no matter how many flags we raise.
You see, we didn't build this, we acquired it.
We set out to destroy the originals and their history, to erase them. We laid genocide upon genocide, burned the bloodlines to ash, those crowned in light, their shamans and healers, hung, drowned, labeled witches. And in their place, we painted ourselves the savior.
They'll never teach you this in school. Louisiana once had a black militia guarding its coast, and history tried to erase them. Share this now so their courage isn't forgotten. After the Civil War, freedmen in New Orleans and surrounding parishes stepped up to defend Louisiana. Many had been enslaved just years before, but when Union forces allowed black men to enlist, they trained, drilled, and formed one of the first organized black militias in the South. Their post? Fort Pike, an aging coastal fort near Lake Pontchartrain. These men weren't just soldiers, they were symbols. In uniforms, stitched from scraps, they patrolled the bayou, manned heavy cannons, and sent a clear message. The days of bondage were over. But white resistance came fast. Local newspapers mocked them. Politicians called them dangerous. And by the late 1870s, Reconstruction collapsed. Federal troops pulled out, and with them, the black militia at Fort Pike was disbanded. The state erased their service from official records, leaving only fragments in archives and letters. Today, Fort Pike still crumbles in the Louisiana heat, silent, ignored, and half submerged in water. But if you stand inside its walls, you can still feel their presence. If you believe their story deserves more than silence, drop a comment. And let's make sure Louisiana's black militia is finally remembered.
What if I told you Louisiana found a way to keep slavery going until the 1970s? At Waterford Plantation in Kelowna, St. Charles Parish, employees were forced to sign contracts they couldn't even read, trapping them in endless debt. Historian Antoinette Harrell uncovered survivors like May Louise Walls Miller, who didn't gain her freedom until 1963. Her family was terrorized, beaten, and worked generation after generation in the sugar fields under conditions that were slavery in everything but name. And Waterford wasn't alone. In St. Landry Parish near Opelousas, multiple black families testified to the U.S. Department of Justice in the 1960s that they were being held under debt peonage, not allowed to leave the farms where they worked. In Rapides Parish, families on cotton and sugarcane plantations reported being beaten, denied wages, and forcing children into labor before they were even old enough for school. This wasn't hidden in the 1800s. It happened in the 1960s and 70s. During the same decades, Louisiana was fighting over school desegregation. Slavery didn't vanish here. It adapted. Why do you think these stories of modern slavery are still missing from Louisiana history books? Drop your thoughts in the comments and follow for more daily Bayou truths.
Greetings and salutations, divine, all blessed. Greetings and salutations, honor and respect, honor and respect, honor and respect. It is another edition of Revolutionary Hoodoo, New Orleans Voodoo Secrets and Recipes. Voodoo Hoodoo 101. Brought to you by, sponsored and promoted by NOIVD, New Orleans International Voodoo Day. New Orleans International Voodoo Day. Please join us and become a sponsor. Join something extraordinary. New Orleans International Voodoo Day is not just an event, it's a movement that celebrates culture, fosters education, and connects people from around the globe. By sponsoring this event, you're supporting a tax-deductible cause that preserves heritage, uplifts art and education, and fosters healing within the community and beyond. Your sponsorship goes beyond promoting your business. It demonstrates your commitment to cultural preservation and education while supporting a unique event that brings international recognition to New Orleans. Events like symposiums, art exhibitions, Sacred processions and global speakers offer unparalleled opportunities to honor history and inspire a brighter future. Supporting an event like this means empowering a community, enriching cultural understanding, and making a meaningful impact on the world. It connects your brand to a celebration that values unity, diversity, and progress while helping preserve traditions for generations to come. So please join us in creating a legacy, explore our sponsorship tiers, and help us make New Orleans International Voodoo Day an unforgettable celebration. Together, we can uplift the community and inspire the world. And we're certainly grateful for your daily weeknight participation at 9 p.m. U.S. Central Standard Time on a social media platform near you or wherever you may choose to share and reshare and repost the link, 9 p.m. U.S. Central Standard Time. We are certainly grateful for our live chat participants, Britt Brat Dash, greetings to you and yours. Daniel Neal, greetings and salutations, beloved. Ray Alexander, we certainly appreciate your continued support and participation. And certainly we appreciate our co-host tonight, Elder Reggie Green Soap. Tonight, Elder Reggie, known on this platform as Green Soap, and Brother Joshua Nylan Tanner, who I will unmute momentarily. Sister Toni Val is celebrating her birthday tonight, so she will not be with us. But I will be picking up from where we left off in our story in regards to the Haitian Revolution and other uprisings in the so-called New World and its subsequent effect on white fear, racism, and the demonization of voodoo in New Orleans. Many whites believed that only a supernatural force could have contributed to the Haitian rebellion's success, with many whites suggesting that it was the use of devil worship which aided the rebels. One such person was a late 18th century French Creole writer, Moreau de Saint-Marais, writing 2 years before the Bois Caimon ceremony. Marais sexualized fetishisms of the mysterious cult of Voodoo, Vaudaux, spoke directly to how whites, both French and English, misunderstood and sensationalized Haitian voodoo. In his travel archive from Saint Domingo, Murray characterized enslaved people as engaging in public dance, quote, without a doubt to weaken the alarm that it causes in the colony, unquote. And moreover, Murray maintained that nothing is more dangerous than the cult of voodoo. His assessment affirmed that it can be made into a terrible weapon, this extravagant idea that the ministers of this alleged god know all and can do anything. Indeed, for men like Murray, voodoo was unpretentiously a superstitious cult, dangerous to the structure of St. Domingo slavery. Despite white planters, travelers, writers, and government officials marginalizing Haitian cosmology, voodoo culture, and the ritual spaces, notwithstanding the overarching pursuit for liberation from French imperialism, the rebels of Haiti would indeed obtain their freedom, much to the chagrin and horror of white New Orleanians. From voodoo, Vodou, to Voodoo, perhaps seeing the writing on the wall, William C.C. Claiborne, governor of Mississippi Territory and governor general and intendant of the province of Louisiana, ordered a proclamation just 1 month after the end of the Haitian Revolution in February 1804 by stating, quote, it having been represented to me that a number of Negroes belonging to the citizens of Louisiana had escaped from the service of their masters and were running at large to injure to injury of such their owners, and whereas I have been requested to take some measures to induce such runaway slave forthwith to return to their duty, unquote. Several months later, in July 1804, Governor Claiborne wrote a correspondence to Lieutenant Colonel Constant Freeman, seeking assistance with the problem of immigrants from St. Domingo. There is another duty, the governor wrote, which I must request you exact from the officer, to bring hither as great a number as possible of the persons without regard to their character. Those persons, the governor was requesting, were slaves from the English island who may be imported, with some coming from the brigands from St. Domingo. However, with precautions, Claiborne's request offers an interesting glimpse into the struggle the territory was facing. On one hand, men and women from Boston to New York, Philadelphia to Richmond, and Charleston to New Orleans were knowledgeable of the insurrection in St. Domingo to varying degrees, with many having varying opinions. On the one hand, a ban on the importation of slaves into Louisiana was received by the U.S. Senate in January 1804. Indeed, a portion of those entering New Orleans were slaves coming with their slave masters, but this was far less than the total number of native-born slaves in the city. However, this still placed New Orleans in a precarious economic position. Juan Vicente Foch, E1, governor of West Florida, was equally invested in the problem in New Orleans. In a private letter to Secretary of State Robert Smith in May 1809, and found within the official letters of Governor Claiborne, remarked upon his 10 days spent in the Crescent City by emphatically stating, I can assure you, without being afraid of incurring a mistake, that there exist at present in this city and its limits from 400 to 500 deserters and malefactors who have come to take refuge under the sovereignty of the United States. By the time Louisiana joined the Union in 1812, Haitian voodoo was resurrected as voodoo with 4 O's in the white imagination. As the Haitian Revolution moved further into America's rear view, so too did the looming threat of Haitian voodoo. However, white New Orleanians remained ever cautious of potential slave uprisings. In New Orleans, it was imperative that free persons of color and enslaved men and women from the former St. Domingo not influence the city's slave population, especially as it pertained to the presence of Haitian voodoo. The transformation of the Creole culture of New Orleans coincided with the gradual modification of voodoo with the U into voodoo with 4 O's. And while on the surface, this shift could be viewed simply as an alternative spelling, what voodoo with 4 O's would embody in the succeeding decades after the Haitian Revolution reinforced the racism from those like Moreau de Saint Marie. Voodoo, as far as whites were concerned, was not a religion, but an exhibition of savagery, fetish, and demon worship, animal sacrifice, cannibalism, nudity, drumming, sexual promiscuity, and interracial orgies. And among enslaved men and women in New Orleans, however, it represented what a true liberation force could look like. Those already suspicious about what enslaved people were doing religiously were now terrified at the prospect that their voodoo would inspire domestic rebellions. One such incident was reported in 1825 when one of the negresses brought from Santo Domingo was said to have purchased her freedom through the secret voodoo practices. This Haitian refugee named Sanite Dede was said to have earned enough money by selling sweetmeats in front of the cabildo in order to support herself. However, this would have not earned her enough money to purchase her freedom. Still, it was believed that Dede conducted her business, and I quote, at the Brick House in Dumaine Street, and was probably the first to lead a band of cultists into the habit of holding their gatherings on the shore of Lake Pontchartrain, unquote. The story of Sanite Dede and Voodoo's hypersexualized powers would have written in an account by J.W. Bruel, who claimed to have witnessed a ceremonial ritual involving snakes, a black cat, drums, a banjo, and half a dozen men and 2 white women. Zorro, an older slave who Burrell identified as a seller of palmetto and sassafras roots, leaving his tam-tam, went up to the altar and again drew forth his snake. He forced it to wiggling and writhe over and around the company, uttering the words which were repeated by 60 voices. Voodoo, voodoo magnon. To any casual observer in the late antebellum and Reconstruction period, first-person narratives from men like Bruel were terrifying and damaging. Unlike Marie Laveau, the famous 19th century New Orleans voodoo priestess, who captured the imagination in service of white and black New Orleanians, women like Cecile Fatiman and Sanite Dede in Haiti and New Orleans, respectively, Cuban priestess Petra Carabali, and men like Haiti's Dutu Boukman, or the New Orleans figure known simply as Zorro, were largely considered dangerous orchestrators of violence, sexual deviancy, sexual degeneracy, witchcraft, and of course, in the case of Fatiman and Boukman, anarchy. So voodoo, whether spelled with a U or 4 O's, thus emerged in the post-Haitian Revolution Atlantic world as a symbol of spirit worship for descendants of Africa, but an emblem of slave revolution in its most perverted and destructive form to white Americans. And as I draw to a conclusion for this section for today, voodoo was a definite advantage because of the way it organized. It is cellular in its non-hierarchical, and it might just as well have been copied from a manual on guerrilla warfare. It's just that strategically sound. However, the real threat to white New Orleans reached beyond what voodoo represented in its revolutionary sense, but also what it signaled to the changing socio-political and economic landscape in the Atlantic. As mentioned above, as more free persons of color escaped the carnage of war-torn Saint-Domingo, which became Haiti, their presence caused much disconcertion among white citizens. Chiefly affected were the plantation owners, both small and large, who not only had to contend with a sudden influx of persons of color who were free, some of whom were themselves slave owners, but the perception that the territory's administration was interfering with its established slaveocracy. And so come on in, Brother Joshua and Elder Reggie. We certainly appreciate your participation and your contributions to the platform, but certainly to the topic of voodoo and revolution and its threat to
Yeah.
the white establishment.
Oh, I understand. Peace and blessing, Divine Prince, Brother Joshua, and Sister Toni, who's enjoying her birthday tonight. We give thanks for all of that. But Divine, that's a real good topic that you bring in. But if what's coming to my mind is in the synonymous with the Haitian Revolution and voodoo in particular is the suburb Tremé. I just want to read just a little snippet of it just to give it some context. Treme, New Orleans, Louisiana. Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. It's right here. Just give me a minute. Okay, here we go. Faubourg Treme's early population was largely composed of immigrants and free people of color, including refugees from Saint Domingue, now Haiti, black and white, who fled to New Orleans in 1810. Many Treme families proudly trace their roots to the neighborhoods back for generations or more, and the district continues to reflect their distinctive culture. The Backstreet Culture Museum showcased aspects of this musical and cultural heritage of the area, including Mardi Gras Indians regalia and information about the city's social and pleasure clubs. Now, in that article, it don't touch upon voodoo, but Treme is synonymous with New Orleans voodoo also. We know Marie Laveau housed was on Rampart, what we call the back of the French Quarters, but right across the other side of Rampart Street was the borderline for the Treme area. So I was just trying to give it some context that the voodoo, the Haitians, free people of color, and that whole development of the Treme and the cultural icon that it is now today in New Orleans are all tied in, but they seem to exclude voodoo out a lot of times. That's what I wanted to add.
Now, let me add to that. Well, first, I want to say I may very well be in that day brick house on Dumaine Street.
Wow.
And as I do live in probably one of the oldest Creole cottages in Treme on Dumaine Street. But you referenced Backstreet Museum, and I'm a supporter and family and friend of Backstreet Museum. And voodoo is featured in the museum. Both Black Hawk Voodoo, Brother Joshua and I are represented and often post up and demonstrate there on Carnival morning, Mardi Gras Day, in front of Backstreet. But then there are aluminum posters of me in Baron Samedi Gede face and a blown up dramatization of my business card on an aluminum poster that are also featured in the back street. And I believe Kalinda Laveau still has a small but simple sort of ancestral shrine displayed there as well. And I'm always available for both the museum as well as visiting tourists and friends and family to share at the Backstreet Museum about the history and legacy of voodoo here in Treme, as well as in the city of New Orleans, to include Congo Square. So it is covered. There's also a not a program, but a showcase, until the right words come to my mind. I'm gonna call it a showcase that was done at the Presbyterian Museum in Jackson Square. I'm gonna say maybe 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, featuring Black masking culture and traditions. And so certainly the Skull and Bones are demonstrated there in their carnival demonstration. Kalinda Laveau and her 7 sisters are shown in photographic and I believe video demonstration. And then I'm also highlighted there representing Black Hawk Voodoo, but also representing authentic New Orleans voodoo practice. And there is a link to a website that I don't have right in front of me at the moment, but at some point I'll bring it up and post it and share it. That tells a little bit of the story about New Orleans and Treme and my presence and demonstration, as well as a few others who are, fighting to keep the footprint and demonstration of authentic voodoo practice alive in Treme.
That's important. Brother Josh, before you come in, I just want to just share with the Prince that I had the pleasure of going to the Presbyterian. I seen that work 4 years ago. That was some beautiful work that was there, and I haven't been to the new Backstreet Culture Museum, but when it was across from St. Augustine Church, I have been several times, but I haven't been to the new one yet. I just wanted to share that. Brother Josh, you could come in. Thank you.
Good day, everybody. Good day, Elder Reggie
Thank you.
and Divine Prince. Hope you guys in the listening world are having a good day. Yeah, the significance of this place that we Treme and its influence on the culture of the world. I would say not just America. A lot of people, a lot of founders and not experts. I would like to say inventors. So many different things came out of this neighborhood. The level of intelligence, the level of education, from music to engineering to craftsmanship to design, creativity in all facets. I would say that this neighborhood is a treasure. And it was a stakeholder in a lot of revolution. And I can't help but to keep thinking about the Freedmen's market that we was so gratefully and able to actually accomplish, to actually have placed and set. It really brings to surface the truth of things, and in terms of the revolution nature of the people that we come from, the people that we are actually. I keep thinking about like being from my generation, born in the late 80s. We are very those who survive and come from people who led the way and pioneered the way. We are the surviving element of it. We are what those people fought for, died for, bled for, resisted for, and we continue to fight that fight now, as we see the things that's happening in today's world and the economy, and it's very, especially here in this city, you can really see it in the city right now in present day in a way where it's like you're seeing a lot of the local community come forth, but you're also seeing less and less people coming into the city. It's kind of unusual because New Orleans is such a tourist place. People come here and want to see people, want to eat the food, and want to do all these things. And we encourage people to continue to do that. But with the nature of what's going on in our country, I feel like a lot of people are kind of sitting still and looking to see what's going to happen next before they make a next move. And
can I chime in? Yeah, I'm with you, but I wanted to chime in because we're touching up on voodoo also, and I respect everything you're doing. But I just wanted to say I appreciate the words you brought the other night. We done the ritual, which was a voodoo ritual in the area they call the Bywater, which is another potent area in the city of New Orleans. And you came out, and it was a very diverse crowd. You came out, you represented well your point of view. But I'm bringing this up to say that voodoo is still alive and kicking in the city of New Orleans, throughout the city and all the pockets of the city. And it's very important for those in the listening ear who wants to get, reacclimated with voodoo and learn the tenets of it. Please come to New Orleans. Come and get in contact with the practitioner. Come get with the locals. Do tours. Come to the certain places and learn and see what we are doing. We are not just talking. We are really trying to engage each and everyone out there to become a full participant in what we are doing. And I wanted to add that because the ceremony the other night, I really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the words you brought. That's what I wanted to add.
Thank you so much, Reggie. It was that was a very moving time for me Yeah. Coming out of there, coming out of a situation where I had to deal with blatant racism, and I had to come out and still do the work and come and face and give love amongst that. It really is. It's really, not gonna say it really was moving for me too, because I was just like, man, I cannot allow that to stop me from moving forward and doing what I have to do. So I definitely am. Thank you so much for that. Your kind words, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, we're a team. We're an organization. The New Orleans International Voodoo Days, moving strong.
Yeah.
And we're doing things, and I like that because we are active. We are not just sitting idly. We are doing things, and we are moving from a revolutionary perspective. It's just that we don't have to be over the top with the revolutionary moves, but we are still doing them. And as other events come up in the future on Divine Prince Excellent Platform, we announce it, because one member in the collective chat came out to that event, and I got to meet that person, and hey, I was pretty cool with that, because people are listening, people are getting some of the event advertisement that's going out, and they're coming out in support. I think those are real good things to build on.
I totally agree. And we will be doing that moving forward. And I know it's like I'm grateful to be a part of it. I know that it's almost like you're walking this walk, and it's like it's an everyday thing. It's a new obstacle every day, and it continues to grow you, and it continues to elevate you in a way where you've seen in a way where people either they like you or they don't, but it's a matter of that's the nature of things, and that's the nature of life, and especially when we're fighting up against evil as we are in the nature of this society that we live in.
Oh, yes, and I'm in agreement. But when we're dealing with voodoo, even from that article I read, people will touch upon Treme, they'll touch upon New Orleans, but they like to skim over voodoo. But voodoo is synonymous with everything that is being incorporated in the city of New Orleans. It may not look like voodoo of old, but it's still part of the fabric, part of the footprint as you move around. How can you move throughout Treme and not touch upon sacred grounds that some of the most famous voodoo people walked, played, and done their trade? As Divine Prince actually said, he may be living in Sainte Dede home. This lady was powerful. She don't get the recognition of a Marie Laveau, but when I done the study on her and I tried to track her grave and see where she was buried at, she was a powerful mambo within her own right. And there's others in the city of New Orleans, but from the print perspective, they just don't get a lot of write-up. And so we have to continue to fight a revolutionary fight for voodoo. As Divine Prince actually said, we have to respect the voodoo, because it was the voodoo that makes New Orleans unique as an American city. What amongst other things.
True. Yep. Well, I think we're getting to the end of the show now.
Okay, now.
I'm gonna let you close us out, Elder Reggie. I appreciate the kind words, and appreciate you guys being here tonight and listening.
Oh yes. Thank you. Lest we forget, much love and respect, Divine Prince, Brother Joshua, Sister Toni, who's enjoying her birthday in the collective audience. Lest we forget, the spiritual medicine of voodoo brings healing and relief from the shackles of slavery that bind the master and the slave to the same chain of social division. And as we are bound together, we must fight. We must fight. With that, I say Ashe. Good night, everyone.
AYIBOBO. Good night.
This one here smells great. This one here smells great.
We went to this big festival to try and find magical practitioners, and we found one that was prepared to do a magical working for us and invoke a dark magic spirit that would, I don't know, judge upon me, potentially curse me, potentially, as he said in his words, potentially slit my head off. That was frightening, and the idea that we'd have to go to this place at night, we wouldn't be able to come down from this place in the jungle that was several miles high in the jungle, and then we would do this working to invoke this spirit, and who knows what would happen. I was less worried about the magical aspects of that, although it was beginning to dawn on me I was maybe getting into stuff that's pretty weird. What really scared me was the fact that we were going to be out miles into the jungle where there were lots of wild animals and there are known animal attacks on humans. And also we were going there with someone we didn't really know who they were. And so one of my fears was, someone we were working with could potentially take a hallucinogenic drug, and then maybe this would be the catalyst for a very bad and dangerous situation. And when my local guide had told me they may have weapons up there, I know me and my crew were very nervous about what we were getting into. At the beginning of this, maybe I was more skeptical. As the days have gone on, I'm not sure what I think anymore.
I felt that maybe it wouldn't affect me if I personally didn't believe in it.
So, knowing what you know now, would you still get cursed?
I'm seeking out a curse, a hex to put on myself.
A curse could end your life. You're literally begging the devil to knock on your door just to prove to you that God's real.
He could curse you with stupidity, but we think you got that down.
Despite the warnings, I'm investigating the real-world effects of dark magic.
Looks like you have a lot of love and a lot of opportunity. You are going to cause damage to that.
How do you feel after doing this?
Evil.
That must be quite seductive.
That's the power you're calling on. The devil, right? Quite seductive.
I'm going to enter into a pact with Satan.
Señor Satán, Lucifer, presentamos a este hermano. Con tu fuego purifica.
Wyong is pretty much the epicenter of all black magic. People are very scared to even talk about it.
Y'all better not call me at 2 o'clock in the morning talking about this man is dead. I don't want to hear that.
I have this physical feeling that something bad is coming. What have I done?
You're going to have to find faith in this in order to undo it.